Well, hello there and happy Vlogmas and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a full face of e.l.f. Cosmetics. e.l.f. Cosmetics is one of my favorite brands, so I'm so excited to do this full face for you guys. I've got a couple new products and I've got a lot of old favorites as well and everything in between, so let's just jump right into it. So for primer, we're going to start with the new e.l.f. Power Grip Primer with Niacinamide. Now this one I haven't actually tried yet, so I'm really excited to see how it works. I really do enjoy the regular Power Grip Primer. I love how it makes my makeup last a really long time. Now, I will say I did have trouble using it the first few times because I didn't understand that you actually do have to let it set before you apply anything on top of it. So I'm going to make sure that I do that for this one. It seems to have pretty much the same texture to it, although I think this is gliding a little bit easier than the original Power Grip Primer. It's definitely leaving a glow, so we'll see if it stays there after it sets down. While I'm waiting for that to set down, I'm going to talk about the next product that I'll go in with, and that's the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. Now, I am a lover of the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, but as we know, that is very expensive, and these products actually aren't exactly the same. I think that the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter actually gives just a little bit more coverage than the Charlotte Tilbury does. When I use it, I really feel like I don't have to use as much foundation on top of it. The shade that I have in the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter is a little bit deeper than the shade that I use in the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, and that is shade 5.5 Tan. So I might feel a little bit differently if I tried maybe the shade lighter than this, and I think I might test that out. Alright, so it's definitely been more than 30 seconds and you can still see a glow, and it's also pretty sticky to the touch everywhere that I applied the primer, so I think it's activated. I like to concentrate the Halo Glow Liquid Filter on the highest points of the face and use my fingers to blend it in. I'm actually going to add a little bit more to the cheeks here. Alright, now I'm going to do something I haven't done before as well, and I'm going to use the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream, and I'm going to mix in a bit of the Halo Glow Liquid Filter. And I'm using the shade Tan 425 Neutral in the Camo CC Cream. And I'm taking my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush to blend out the CC Cream and Halo Glow Liquid Filter. The 425 Neutral shade was actually a little deep for me, and I think that adding the filter made it a little bit closer to my skin tone. Alright, I'm going to use the bottom of my e.l.f. sponge to really press everything in the skin. Alright, I definitely like how the CC Cream looks more with the Halo Glow Liquid Filter than without. So now I'm going to move on to the brows, and I have two products by e.l.f. that I love. The first is the e.l.f. Bite-Sized Brow Palette, and we're going to be using a mixture of the two powders in this palette, and then I want to go over and set everything down with the e.l.f. Brow Lift. So I'm taking my spoolie with nothing on it, just to brush the brows up. And now I'm mixing the two powder shades here and just lightly filling in my brows. I actually have powder brows, and I will link the video down below where I talk about my experience, but I'm not needing a lot more filling in these days, but I still like to throw in a little bit of powder, or sometimes I go in with my like Milani Weekend brow pen type products. But I love how powder just looks so natural when applied correctly. Now my only thing with the e.l.f. Brow Lift is I do wish that it was in a different kind of container, because you have to like bend your spoolie in order to get it in there to pick up the correct amount of product. Now, I love using this e.l.f. brow lift alone. It just gives the perfect hold without being too crunchy or leaving any sort of white residue. Next up, we have concealer, and I'm actually going to be using a mixture of both the hydrating camo concealer and the older regular camo concealer. What's it called? Oh, just the 16-hour camo concealer. And I actually had to repurchase the camo concealer because it's been a while since I've used this one. I do prefer the hydrating concealer in general over the original camo concealer, but overall, I actually am not huge fans of these concealers from the drugstore in general. But who knows, maybe after this video I might change my mind and start using them again. Now, I have the shade Deep Cinnamon in the 16-hour camo concealer. Now, I do remember it being a tad deep, so I'm going to be using Tan Neutral in the hydrating camo concealer formula. Looks like even with mixing them, it's not going to be quite light enough, but looks like I can still at least conceal a bit, maybe. It doesn't look bad, but I want just a little bit more oomph. So I might be able to do that with the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer, and this is the shade Medium 33W. And I actually really like this concealer. I just typically will reach for it on my lighter coverage days because it is a lighter coverage concealer. But maybe throwing it on top here can help brighten things up. All right, now I'm going to start blending it out with my Real Techniques setting brush. I think it's definitely doing what it needs to do here. All right, I'm going to finish things up with the sponge. All right, I'm loving how everything looks. The complexion is nice and perfected. Now I'm going to go ahead and set my under eyes with the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder in the shade Medium, and you already know that it's a longtime favorite of mine. I love this setting powder. Now, I've been loving using a powder puff to set my makeup, and I actually picked up this e.l.f. Halo Glow Powder Puff to set my makeup today. And I haven't used it yet. I saved it specifically for this occasion. Moving on to bronzer, I've actually got one of the new Luminous Putty bronzers, and I have the shade Sun Chaser. And for comparison, I have the regular putty bronzer in the shade Bronzed Belle. So as you can see, Bronzed Belle is a little bit deeper, so I am hoping that Sun Chaser works out for me. But if it doesn't, I have no problem buying the next shade up because I have a feeling I'm going to love this formula. Now, I do enjoy the original putty bronzer, as you can see by my panning this product, but I was really excited when they announced that they were releasing a luminous putty bronzer. So let's go ahead and try it out. And this is going to be my first time testing this out for you guys. Well, this is going to be my first time testing it out at all, and I'm testing it out for you guys. All right. So that's it on the brush. Definitely could stand to have a deeper shade. There's no doubt about that. But I am loving this slightly sun-kissed glow it's giving me. So if you're watching this and your mind skin tone, maybe go up a shade here. But I do like the formula. I love the wet, shiny look, but there's also not like a bunch of glitter. It's a lot of, it's micro fine glitter that's in it, and super luminous. Now I'm gonna go ahead and deepen up that bronzer area with the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation in the shade Tan 425N. I have the e.l.f. Putty Blush in Tahiti, and then I have the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Blush in St. Bart's. And I think because I'm looking super dewy with the Luminous Putty Bronzer, I'm going to go ahead and stick with the original e.l.f. Putty Blush in Tahiti. I'm loving that shade. I actually haven't used that one in a while. It's a really beautiful flushed pink on my cheeks. For eyeshadow, I'm going to go in with one of the bite-sized quads in the colorway Love You Latte. I'm starting with this shade here, and I'm going to go all over the lid with it. And in the waterline. Just with what I have left on the brush. I like these palettes, but I'm not crazy about any of the colorways in particular. There's a few that, you know, I like using together, but of all of the colorways, I think that this one's my favorite. And, you know, I do wish the shades were a little bit deeper though. Now I'm going to go in the outer corner with this deeper shade here. Do you think that the formula of these bite-sized quads are better than a lot of the palettes that they have released in the past, like the bigger palettes and even some of the ones they've released recently? I find that these shadows blend a little bit easier, less chalky, a little bit more pigmented, just better quality overall. Now I'm taking the lightest shade in this palette and I'm going on the inner corner and the lid. Alright, now I'm going to use one of the e.l.f. No Budge Cream eyeshadows as a liner, and I'm using the shade Plateau. So the liner turned out a little bit more intense than I was intending, but I'm not mad at it. I like the No Budge Cream eyeshadow for the purposes of eyeliner or a graphic eyeshadow look, but honestly, they're just so intense and so chalky that it's hard to try to spread it out throughout the lid and do something with it before it sets down and becomes very hard to remove. And I mean so hard to remove even at the end of the night when you're trying to remove it with your makeup remover. Hard to remove. I would be interested in seeing a luminous version of the No Budge Cream shadows and seeing maybe if that creates a little bit more give, a little bit more playtime with the product. But overall, like I said, I'll be using Plateau as an eyeliner. Probably will not be using the other shades that I picked up. Another new product we have is the e.l.f. Lash and Roll Mascara, and I picked up the shade Pitch Black. I did open it yesterday when I received it, and I used it once, but I wanted to make sure it could dry out a little bit before I used it on camera, because most of the mascaras that I love them more when they've been open for a little bit. Here is the wand. It has a slightly curved wand, which really helps with elongating the lashes and also helping them kind of curl upwards. All right, here we go. So I definitely like it more today than I did yesterday, and I can tell that as it gets stickier and dries out more, I'm gonna love it even more. Wow, I've only used this mascara twice, and I can already tell this is gonna be a major contender for the best drugstore mascara. All right, let's finish things off with the lips. I've got the e.l.f. Love Triangle Lip Filler Liner in the shade Soft Pink, and this lip liner is newer to my collection, and we're gonna be topping it off with the e.l.f. Seriously Satin lipstick in the shade Nectar. This lip liner formula is really comfortable but also really long lasting, and I hope that they release more shades of it. All right, and now this Seriously Satin lipstick in Nectar. This was my everyday lipstick for the longest time. So I'm not crazy about the lips with these eyes, so I'm actually gonna take off the lip. I'm gonna see if I like this e.l.f. Sheer Slick lipstick better, and this is in the shade Golden Pear. Okay, yes, I think that looks much better. And that's another one of my favorite e.l.f. lip products. It's nice and juicy and it goes on really shiny, and it's nice and moisturizing on the lips as well. It's definitely not as long lasting as the e.l.f. Seriously Satin lipstick, but you can throw it in your bag easily for reapplication later. All right, guys, that wraps up my full face of e.l.f. cosmetics. I do like this look. I do think that my base looks a little thick on the complexion side, and I don't know if it's because of the primer or the CC cream, and honestly I'm thinking it is the CC cream just because it is, you know, kind of thick to begin with. I think that the Power Grip Primer, I do like the glow that it gave when I was applying my makeup. And of course, you already know how much I love the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. I also really enjoyed my new e.l.f. Powder Puff, as well as this new Lash and Roll Mascara. In fact, I think this is probably my favorite thing of the video today. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you are having a great holiday season. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.